Yeah, got a bunch of stuff. Obviously, as we close out kind of the end of the year, obviously, I think the overarching theme is how encouraged and excited I am. We're young. I think we turned an important corner in a lot of facets, and the people closest to our program are seeing it, feeling it, and hearing it. I couldn't be more excited for that time right now in this city and a place that I'm candidly falling in love with in regards to how we're doing stuff and the people around and the program, the momentum. I remember I'm elated and humbled to be here at this time. I think, throughout the year we played top several teams and had a bunch of those games come down to critical moments, and our youth was exposed a bit at times. We know that, but I think we grew up in moments that I think that we were able to teach from. And I think in several of those games, even on the road, there were so many winning things, so many opportunities for us to teach, and we did, and we stayed steady. And we stayed tight, and I think we improved in that regard in a lot of areas versus experienced teams, and learning how to finish was probably the thing that we're continually understanding and learning how this game is so pivotal in that regard. And we saw that come to fruition. It's frustrating, but those are still teaching moments. I think we secured a couple wins down the stretch, which showed me we had everything going in the right direction. Obviously, clearly steps forward in a lot of ways in some of those victories there at the end, and let alone throughout the course of the season. And I think that we use those as stepping stones as we propel ourselves into the off season. An obvious issue that we're tending to right now is depth. Losing players to injury also reared its head for us in a young group and a young team in a first regular season. And I think that's something that our recruiting is going to have to make sure that we dial into, and we've been hitting the ground as soon as we got done doing that, as we all know. Excited moving forward. We'll have a more mature team. We're recruiting very aggressively as usual. We're optimistic about that. Plan to use the transfer portal to our advantage best we can, like a jigsaw puzzle, and plug and play some things in with some younger guys, which will be awesome. And I think get deeper and more experience. Then I think that'll come with another offseason, let alone another group of recruits. The one thing that I've learned quickly, and it's been humbling too, is I've learned through intimate conversations with opposing coaches and teams and people closest to our program, that is awesome to hear that they see what we see. They see a program on the rise. These are the coaches at the 50-yard line when I get to talk to them. Other coaches at the 50-yard line saying, what they've seen over the course of time, and to see our guys and to have them speak volumes about our guys that way says a lot about our group. I'm excited about that. They see the facilities. A lot of guys are asking to come by, and they want to see what we're doing. What's the facilities look like? How is this happening so fast? And so that's encouraging. A complete experience in this city is starting to be talked about with our recruits and families. That's really encouraging as well. That's one of the reasons and things we'd hoped for when we came here was a full experience. Academically, socially, and athletically are a big piece of the whole big puzzle. And sometimes we get very myopic in that regard when football's on the ground, but there's a bigger piece to this, and I think collectively we're all super excited about that, and it's awesome to hear from across the lines that we're getting. So been a lot of places. I couldn't be more fired up and happy to be here to do this job with these guys here and to press forward. So didn't finish out the way we wanted to last weekend. Disappointed to see that versus a quality opponent on the road, especially how hard we had fought and played in big games throughout the course of the season. That's something we're definitely tending to. We made very, very apparent to our guys and how we need to finish games and go into games like that at the end of the season regardless. We didn't get that done, but there's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems. We got to make sure that's this piece of our fixture and things we can do. So I got a bunch of bullet points offensively, defensively, things we could get through, but that's kind of where I'm at as I hit the gas here in this last week of kind of wrapping things up.
Question? Coach, is it still going to be a rule officially where you can replace 7 players for the players that go into the transfer portal?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a new rule that there's up to 7 guys from your current roster that started with you that you may lose over the course of the transfers, or so be it. You'll be able to replace to make sure that your roster doesn't get decimated in kind of this new world we're in of free agency.
How important will it be to go into the transfer portal to get new talent?
Yeah, I think it's something I think we talked about this early on. It's really important. I think using that to our advantage is something that we're going to use. I mentioned the word jigsaw puzzle and kind of put it together because it is kind of like that. Sometimes you'll have a background with some of these guys who are in there because you recruited them at another spot or somewhere else. Other times you have to do some really diligent, fast work on guys who pop in, today, and you got a signing day in 2 weeks, and you got to figure out some real interesting information quickly in regards to how you feel you can plug it into your family and how it can be a fixture. So we're definitely going to use it to the best of our advantage. We're going to be as thorough as we can. I think you guys have seen that and how we do stuff. We're going to be aggressive. We're not afraid to go up against anybody at this point either. And so I'm excited. Our coach is already on the road. We had some great meetings last night already, started last night, and we're operating full charge.
Just obviously Jacoby making his announcement yesterday.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations did you guys have, and when did you find out about his decision?
Yeah, unfortunate, obviously, to lose a guy like that. But I think it goes both ways. He wants to get a little closer to home or whatever it may be. Another opportunity that may have come, and we wish him the best. Those things are going to happen nowadays. It really are. It's just part of it. It's happening everywhere. And but again, the thing is, it works both ways. Now you don't just lose him and not get him back. We get a chance to go in and replace it and do what we've done. I mean, in 11 months to see the defense do what they did with Jacoby and AJ, moving them in new spots and see them have that progress, gives us optimism that the next guy to come in that spot can have some value as well in that regard. Because again, it was the first regular season with these guys in the first regular season of Jacoby playing that position too. So optimistic that the guys taught that and that fast. And got guys like AJ and Jacoby in that role. So I'm excited to see if we can, ante up there. But a tough loss, but part of our deal.
Coach, like you said, ending the season the way you did, obviously you would like to end on a win. But picking up those 2 wins late in November, how important were those kind of to take that momentum into the offseason and kind of use that into year 3, how important were those wins and just the way you guys like you said, you didn't finish the season as you wanted to, but building that momentum heading into the offseason and into year 3?
No, I mean, that's part of the reason why we continue to say how encouraged we were is because you're into November and right now you stack 2 wins in conference opponents. One of which I believe is a bowl team, and I think Hawaii's going to a bowl and played really well. And so then to really have a tough fight against San Diego State and have that one come out of the wire and to really be close to 3 there in November, I think that's one of the reasons we're so encouraged is because we saw the growth continue throughout the course of the seasons and build and not let down, because it would have been real easy to let down more than once or a couple times over the course of this season, and guys have to pull the ripcord, and they didn't. They did, and we've got a lot of work to do. Don't get it, we're very imperfect. We got a ton of work to do. I couldn't be more excited about getting back in the garage and getting this motor tuned back up because that's the funnest part, especially now because the best growth you can usually make is between season 1 and season 2, the regular season. This is the full regular off season, full season, to go back and peel back the layers of 12 games, a full winter, a full recruiting on campus, summer training, summer throwing, teaching in the room, all that stuff, to peel the layers back and go, all right, here's plan for year 2. That's what engages me so much. That's what fires me up so much because I know there's so much of a gain you can make in 1 to 2, especially with continuity and things that I think we can control.
Coach, what is the biggest area of concern of need?
Of need? Well, I think the thing that's for us is we've got a lot of youth. That's the thing at Reader's Head, and I think depth overall is probably the big. I think it's more of a number issue, Tony, than it is probably just an exact science. On positions, I think that the beauty of us being young and inexperienced is we're going to take guys at every spot. We're going to take positions at every spot. Some of which is already accounted for, and we haven't signed those guys, but we think we feel pretty good about some of the guys who believe that they're coming. But we're taking guys at every spot, and we're maximizing our numbers. So we're going to take a handful of wide receivers. We're going to take. We already get quarterback, O-line, D-line, corners, linebackers, all of it. There's specialists that we're looking for in that regard. So we're not set in any position. It may be different in a couple years from now. I may say, hey, we're pretty set there, and we're probably going to really ante up on a loss of 4 or 5 guys that are seniors at whatever D-line or linebacker, and we got to really go in there, But every position that we've got available, we're going to go after, and it's going to be our messaging, our thoughts is you need to upgrade at every position, out-recruit your current talent, and to the best of your ability. And I think that's going to be an important piece.
Going back to quarterback, just how do you feel going into this offseason at quarterback compared to last year? Do you feel like there's more certainty with the way Cam played and what Doug showed this year?
Yeah, for sure. I think coming out of that spring season or whatever, COVID season, whatever it was, I don't think we had a clear view on it. I know I didn't on exactly what we could do. Now we got a chance to teach the offense in that last offseason. Come January 18th, as we first got back in this building after that and finally got into a regular season, a regular role, it really was, again, up in the air. We hoped we'd see some things from Doug and Justin that did well. We knew Cam would be, drinking through a fire hose, and then he went into fall training camp and didn't take any reps. And then all of a sudden he's the guy, and I think he did a fantastic job. We got to help him in a lot of ways as we move forward to put things around, and we've got to help ourselves. But I think that I think that the growth there and the maturation that's going to happen in that position is exciting because, again, Doug, Cam, and everybody in there's no older guys, and then you had some really quality recruits here, and that's going to be a pretty special position at this place for a while.
With the guys returning, how important are kind of like these next couple of weeks to where they're to kind of take a break from football until after going through their first full regular season? How important is that kind of rest going to be for them as they recharge and get ready for like winter workouts into the spring?
Yeah, that's a great point. So we're really adamant about guys decompressing and taking time off, getting their bodies back, getting their minds back, emotionally, physically, and mentally. This is a grind. It is. You go through this as a student athlete at something with just this demanding. I think that it takes a toll on you, and so we've encouraged all our guys. We have a team meeting tonight. It's going to be really just to close up shop, get some calendar items done, let them know kind of final situations, calendar situations, and times that. And one of the messages is going to be to just turn off for a while. Go ahead and turn off and relax and catch your breath, get your body right, get your mind right. You don't need to think about where you need to be on Tuesday morning's practice or taping or weigh-in and all that stuff, and go see your family, get a plan. But I also tell them don't plan on having a whole bunch of time next year. Next year's bowl season, so let's roll. So these guys need to catch a good big breath and to get fired up about off-season training, and they will. It'll be great, I think. But it's a huge component. It's a great question because unplugging is hard sometimes for certain guys, and knowing how to unplug. It's for coaches too. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty ramped up, so I got to find a way too.
What did you learn, going through your first 12-game stint as a head coach? How do you feel like you learned from this past season?
I think that I probably will be able to answer that once I unplug a minute. It's still kind of on. I think the continued mentorship that I had in the fact of communicating effectively continues to be the thing that I hold dearest to the way you deal with this job. I think being honest with guys, being upfront, being direct, being demanding is okay, but then just being honest. I think that I see where, now that I've been in it, I can see where sometimes you can get carried away. Some guys can get carried away maybe with telling them things that aren't really that important, or trying to fluff things up or make them feel better or worse than they are. And I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I think that organically, if you have a conversation with each other and they know you're in there and you're in the firefight and you're in the foxhole the same way they are, and that you hold them to a certain demand and standard because it's good for them as young men and women and players in a program, and you're willing to stand out front and fight with them and do that and take those lumps and have humility, I think you go a long ways. I think I've learned that when it's an old adage, but you got to earn trust. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is getting these guys to understand I don't expect you to trust me right off the bat. That's not human. I'm going to earn your trust. And so I think what we've done as a culture is I've found a way for our coaches and our program and the people that touch all our athletes to earn all their trust. And that's the demand that we ask, because there's no other way to go through the toughness of a season or toughness of what we do and expect the glue to stick when you don't trust each other. That's how things break. And so I think you saw that. I think you saw a lot of glue in the first year. I think the guys stuck together. I think there wasn't and sometimes you don't expect that early on. You see a bunch of shattering. You're like, oh, there's a bunch of cracks. We got to sew this thing back together because guys don't believe in each other. They don't like each other. They don't trust each other. I didn't see that. And I think that's a tribute to the coaches and the program and the off season and the people around the program who deal with their athletes. I think they treat them like humans, and we all have our flaws. But I think that's some of the stuff that kind of came out as I think back to it.
Do you anticipate using half of the 32 you could use by the 15th?
That's probably a good number. Half is probably where you will probably end up. If we ended up with more than half, it'll be here in the last week, because it is next week. Because now the portal as I don't know if you guys followed this morning, but the floodgates opened this morning already. And so to track this next week of who's in there, if a handful of those guys we haven't identified yet want to go early and get here early, then we'll find that out in the next few days, and then you ramp it up. But you got to be careful with knowing what you sign up for. I think being thorough in our process is a big piece of what we do, because that's when you can make some mistakes, and it's imperfect. You're going to miss some, but you need to get a batting average. You need a really good batting average early on for your guys, for your team to build the roster, and so that's probably a good number. Probably half of that. It'd be probably close, and then you get another half afterwards, and save a few. Like you saw us this year, we saved a couple even all the way to spring, because in spring ball there's still some things you can find out. Davion McDaniel late, and was a great pickup for us.
You mentioned recruiting quarterbacks. Are you looking to add young or possibly plug and play immediate competition for the guys?
Well, both, I think. Depends how things shake out in regards to what we're going to do. These meetings in right now with our current squad will be important. But right now, definitely a young quarterback, which we're excited about. And then if we have to think that there's another one if there's another one we feel who can add value, then we could potentially go down that road. But that's kind of a swing. It's kind of what we'd call a 1/2, not so much a 2. If there was something out there that was absolute, a knockdown, you can't refuse.
Can you look back just one more time on Charles Williams and after he came back and what he did this year?
Yeah, I mean, again, Charles is just a legend now. I mean, that guy's done things for this program that are in record books. I mean, he's been a stand-up guy off the field, stand-up guy as a father, as a student, and it came out in football too. And had a heck of a season. Did a fantastic job. I think did as good as he's had. I think as good a season as he's had here this season. And in our offense for the first year is sometimes tough because it's different. But again, another 1,000-yard rusher in the season, another 1,000-yard rusher in this offense. And again, more than anything, made an impact as a leader, as a quality guy. Has a lot of things that count that you can't count, and that says a lot. He's a good human, and I think this place is done a lot and shown a lot because of Charles, and fired up to have him around and see how he continues his career. We've got some discussions that hopefully I can help with in regards to some things that move forward with him and draft process and things like that, getting prepared for certain things and how that goes. I think we can be very helpful there. We can continue to educate him there, because I think that in itself is a whole other can of worms. But man, we're humbled, and I think he's set a good bar for us, and I'm excited for those guys to go meet it now.
Coach, what are some of the things about a running back like Sammy Green that make him an intriguing player?
Vision, quickness, durability, hands out of the backfield, explosiveness, change of direction, special teams value, feet in the hole, make you miss. Those are some of the things that I remember checking off when we saw him, and then he came out and did some stuff in spring, and those continued to show up. He's got the traits that you're looking for back there. The thing that he'll have to learn quickly is the thing that's always quickest to learn or hardest to learn, quickest to show up on you, is protection, learning protection at this level. We did it with CJ and Troy when they're and Dye, not Troy, Baby Dye, when they were freshmen. We did it with Justice Hill at Oklahoma State. There's a progression, a maturation to protection that we're going to have to work through with young guys. But we got a couple guys who've already done it too. Javon's been in the system before. There's a couple guys who know protection, so he's going to get to learn kind of as we go. But that's going to be the thing. It's going to be for every young back. But he's got some home run ability now. He's got some real home run ability, and he can make you miss. And he's tough, pound for pound. He can go now.
Coach, the tight end is such an integral part of college football now. How many tight ends do you think you'll recruit? How many do you think you need?
Well, we've got 3 young ones we really like, and a few of those guys got some action already this season. Between Kaleo and Sean and Brian, we'll probably add another one to the mix. Give yourself 4 or 5 tight ends you feel can be valuable in this offense, are important. And so, I think that's probably the number we'd be at. We'd probably take another one in this class. Hopefully maybe a more experienced guy, maybe a guy with a little maturity. But again, it's going to be best available too at that position. Just best available for that position with what we have, maybe an older guy, just because the body type it takes to play in the system at the line of scrimmage.
Coach, just a non-football related question. You've lived in the city now for 2 years. I'm curious, from an outsider's perspective looking in, it's usually just the Strip and that's it. But there's really a sense of community here in Las Vegas. Now that you've been here and experienced it and you're in it, what's your takeaway? Is there anything that has shocked you about the city of Las Vegas as far as community and that type of thing?
I could not be more fired up to be here. I genuinely love Las Vegas. I can say that with all honesty now. It's not a coaching deal. I mean, to learn about this place every day, to learn about the people, to see the community, to know how small the Strip is in comparison to how many great things are in this town. We lived on both sides. I've lived in 9 states in 20 years. I've lived in every environment, college towns, the big cities and Houstons and Bay Areas, and I'm infatuated with this place right now. My family and I love it. We lived in Summerlin when we first got here because we were in the pandemic and couldn't get kind of locked in there, and ended up down in Henderson. We've seen both sides. We go out a lot to some of the food places around, local and for fun. Our family comes a ton now. There's a ton of stuff to do for our daughter and our young son. I mean, there's so much. I couldn't be happy. This is a place that I told someone when we first got here. I don't plan on leaving this place any soon. There's no reason to. There's a lot of things. The ceiling here can be really high if we do it the right way, and we will. So I'm fired up. And I think that the thing that's better about that is the staff is seeing that, the players are seeing that, and the recruits are seeing that. And so you're starting to see, okay, this is legit, It's not, we're exposing people to what we really see in this place. We've all been a lot of places, a lot of guys upstairs, been a lot of different places, a lot of premier levels. To be able to call this home, everyone's pretty fired up about.